Welcome. This is the Santa Barbara Airport Commission meeting of January the 16th, 2013. May I have a roll call, please?
John Clark.
Here.
Chris Colbert.
Here.
William Gilbert.
Here.
Patricia Griffin. Karen Kahn.
Here.
Kirk Martin.
Here.
Bruce Miller.
Here. Do we have any speakers lists?
Not this evening.
Thank you. Notices that on Friday, January 11th, 2013 at noon, the Airport Commission Secretary duly posted this agenda on the bulletin board at Airport Administration. Which brings us to minutes. Do we have a motion about that?
The motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent calendar. Anybody have any questions? Changes? Things to discuss?
Yes.
It's very quiet.
I would make a motion we accept the consent calendar consisting of the December property management report.
All right.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moves rapidly to liaison reports, and I see we have a liaison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Randy Rouse, Santa Barbara City Council. We've actually been on recess for a couple of weeks, so we haven't done anything to the city negatively and haven't renamed any airport buildings or done anything along those lines. So things have been good. The latest quarter reports we have shows sales tax and transit occupancy tax have still improved, not at quite the rate they were doing earlier in the year, but still we're in very good fiscal shape. Other than that, I don't have a lot to report. We're starting on a new year, and I think we've got some good stuff coming up. We're about ready to get into budget cycles, as Director Ramsdell knows, so we'll be speaking to you directly about that. Do you have any questions for anything going on in the city? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, commission matters, which would be election of officers and subcommittee assignments. Now, it's all about how we want to do this. I think we've gotten rather informal the last few times. I think the first question is looking at the committee assignments. Does anybody want to pick something up, change something?
I'd like to volunteer for general aviation and public relations. And if anybody wants off-air service, I'll volunteer to go on.
Okay.
I'm happy where I'm at.
As am I.
I am as well. I'm happy where you're at.
Okay.
Do we make a motion to accept Commissioner Khan's
Yes.
submitting to those committees?
I guess we do.
You gonna argue? I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll accept that. Second.
Think everybody's in favor?
Yes.
Hmm?
Everybody's in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Aye.
What? No, just kidding. Which people are talking to the mic?
Yes, sorry.
I have a hearing problem, I know, and it's augmented, but when you don't talk in the mic, I really
we
get lose things, and I apologize.
Would you care to repeat the commissions, the subcommittees you've just
Yes,
volunteered
because
for?
I was volunteering for the open slots on public relations, also the open slot on general aviation, and if a spot became available on air service, such as Ms. Griffin might prefer to do something else since she's not here to defend herself, I would also volunteer to work on that committee, which is something I have some experience with.
Okay. So noted, and I guess, do we need a motion or anything about this? It's just a discussion. Yeah. Okay. Can't interest you in noise abatement, huh?
I make too much of it.
Okay, so that leaves us with a chair and vice chair. And again, it comes down to who, I'll be blunt, who doesn't want to?
I'd like to put Commissioner Colbert for chair, sure.
I appreciate the, I appreciate the nomination. I think I'll defer. I'll defer this
I
to
think you can, I think it'd be good.
Does that have anything to do with starting the meetings on time?
No. It's not for you.
That could have been an easy out.
Well, I would volunteer myself for either one of the positions.
Okay. And I can't do anything because I'm timed out and working on borrowed time, so. Okay, we have any other nominees for the chair? That makes
Well,
it-
I'll second.
Okay,
that.
second that, and,
Okay.
okay,
As a chair.
okay. And
Vice chair? Volunteer?
you got volunteer for
yeah.
vice chair.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Could you take a vote?
Yes, we can. Let's take a vote on Bruce Miller for chair. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
let's move on to vice chair.
That's
Just
fine.
had a volunteer here of,
I'll second that.
okay. Anyone else? Any other nomination?
Vice chair.
Vice chair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, those in favor of Kirk Martin for vice chair?
Aye.
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 Done. Which brings us directly to the director's report.
Glad to see that the election went without any bloodshed.
There were no
Highly
hanging
contested.
chads.
No scratch marks.
Yeah, really. Okay. Well, our passenger count for December was up 6.8% compared to December of last year, so we were thrilled about that. And for year-to-date, we're up 0.8%, almost 1%, so we're very, very pleased. Just as a kind of gee whiz fact, let's see, the passenger count that we have this year is comparable to what we had in 2002. So we have some making up to do in terms of that. From
Gee whiz.
yeah, gee whiz is right. From 2004 to 2008, we were in the 800,000
Yeah.
passengers. 2006, we peaked at 856,000. And then for the 4 years of 2009 through 2012, we were in the 700,000. So we just need to get some more seats in our market, and because we're, as we've talked about, our load factors in the 80 to 90% range, so we actually need more seats. So anyway, that was a little gee whiz stuff for tonight. Air service, speaking of more seats, on January 7th, Frontier Airlines brought in an A319 jet to Denver with 128 passengers. So that will help in terms of bringing more seats to the market. The manager for Frontier today said that so far, and this is a low part of the season, the seats are anywhere from 50 to 75% full. So I think that's a good thing. It's starting off pretty well. I'm sure they'd like to do a little better. During the holiday season, as you know, we did Songs of the Season again and had a number of school groups come and perform at the terminal for the week before Christmas. Prior to Christmas. Yeah. And that went really well. We always get a very good response from the passengers and the public, as well as the school groups really enjoy coming out. Master plan, we're in the midst of the alternative development for the plan, and the consultant presented several different alternatives for us to consider. We have meetings set up with the tower and both FBOs to get more detail on, kind of their feedback on the alternatives and what they see the needs are, as well as kind of the shortcomings of any of the alternatives that we have. We have the next committee meeting was scheduled for toward the end of April, right? But I think we're going to have an intermediary meeting. I think we need to have some more input on the alternatives to get them kind of honed down and better, product in terms of how we should go forward. Let's see. In the Ovington Terminal, the historic terminal, the Santa Barbara Historical Museum has put up the exhibit, history exhibit. There are panels that go around each wall of the base of the historic tower, as well as some photos on the wall outside. So if you have time, I encourage you to go over there and look at them. I think they did a really marvelous job. And we really would like to continue our relationship with the museum for refreshing of our displays and stuff in the future. So I was very pleased.
Quick question on that.
Oh,
Just for the public knowledge, those avid viewers that we have, could you tell us what the hours that facility is open and how it's accessed?
Unless you walk in, you have to park in either short-term or long-term parking. And it's in the historic terminal in the base of the tower, and you can just walk in. It's open from 4:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the morning or something.
So it's basically only closed 3 hours a day?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we were talking today about working on getting some furniture and some other things in there to kind of warm up the terminal, make it feel a little more inviting. But I think the contractor and the architect did a marvelous job on the restoration, and now got a great facility to work with.
And we're just waiting for the grand opening now, right?
Oh, right. Well,
The gala?
we're not going to have a gala or even a mini gala, but we will have some little event to celebrate the finishing of the terminal project, as well as the historic terminal. And also, we hopefully by mid-February we'll hear on our LEED certifications, what level that we'll attain. So we'll celebrate that as well. So more to come, and always time for a party, I guess.
I'll bring the Kool-Aid. Are you looking for vintage furniture so it would go with the era, or are you looking for contemporary, or what is the...
Something that would go with the style of the building.
Uh-huh.
So more...
In other words, canvas chairs and so forth, huh?
Well, yeah, or even the wood benches that we have around on the outside. It's not perfect, but it's much better than the typical contemporary airport furniture that you find.
Good.
I went online and Googled Spanish colonial revival furniture restoration, and actually some stuff came up. So I love Google. I'll be very sad if they ever go out of business. So we'll be looking for some type of furniture that will be comfortable as well as in style with the architecture of the building. Capital projects, the terminal project is complete. A notice of completion will be submitted to the county recorder or County of Santa Barbara for recordation, and then we're pretty much done. So that's good. It feels good to get that out of the way, or done on our checklist. In the spring, Taxiway Hotel, Charlie and Juliet will undergo rehabilitation. So that's our next big airfield type capital project coming up. as far as engineering is concerned, I guess it's probably a ho-hum kind of project after the terminal, but much needed for pilots that have been taxiing around on our taxiways. I think that completes the projects I was going to highlight. If you have anything that you'd like me to cover that I didn't that's on here, I'd be happy to.
Karen, could you were talking about the certificate of completion for the terminal. Is the parking lot improvements completed as well?
Yes, right.
It's all buttoned up.
Yep, it's all buttoned up, and people are actually parking in short term, and the congestion and angst that was going on at the front curb has eased off tremendously. Our complaints have gone down to almost nothing.
That's why Tracy's here.
That's right. He's the complaint department. No.
He's able to sit down once again.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's worked out really well. People we're kind of retraining them now that we, through construction, they were retrained several times of how to maneuver from long-term to the terminal building. But now they can come from long-term through the walkway of the Alea Palms, through the lobby of the historic terminal, and into the ticket lobby of the new terminal. So and people are using it constantly. So they're readjusting very well.
Is the short-term parking lot use meeting expectations?
Well, it just opened within the last month or so, but the use is growing. I don't know what the numbers actually are, but it's not full by any means. But
Okay.
I think as time goes on and people discover it, they'll park there more.
Wasn't any mention in the report, but I assume the ground transportation plan is still moving forward. And what?
Yes.
I expect to send out an invite for a subcommittee meeting soon. I expect to send out an invite for the subcommittee to review it. I have an appointment with the attorney coming up to make sure they're pleased with the format.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, things to bring up?
The gift shop storage is, what type of a time frame is that looking at?
It should start construction, I think, around the 21st of January.
Oh, wow.
And it shouldn't take all that long. I don't know, a couple months. A minute. Yeah. 2 minutes.
Well, that is the inauguration day, so count on
Right.
twice the time.
But you're not expecting a particular amount of disruption with a fairly
No,
confined area.
They'll do the noisy, dusty stuff at night, and it will help the gift shop tremendously to have that. So that'll be good.
And probably help on the escorts.
Oh yeah, and it will help our staff who has to escort
Oh, yeah.
every time they need a case of water or empty the trash, or I guess that won't help, but product-wise, it will help a lot. So
Good.
a win-win, as they say.
I guess we haven't had an update on the loading bridges and how everybody's getting used to those these days in terms of operations. Is that pretty much settled down? Or?
Well, we've had a number of issues with, kind of airline operation of the bridges, or employees, bumping into the bridge and damaging this and that. So that's just a constant, every day, every week, and I can't imagine at a bigger airport what they must go through. But I assume it's just the normal operation of, having employees out there on tugs and driving around the boarding bridges. But basically, I think the passengers really enjoy them. And we even have Alaska using them now, which they hadn't been previously. So that's a good thing.
It is.
Good. In terms of maintenance costs on those and within budget, or is that
Warranty.
warranty? Oh,
We're right now, and then we'll be putting together contract, how long does the warranty, 1 year?
2 years.
2 years? So then after that, we'll put together a bid for maintenance in the future and put it out to bid.
But warranty probably doesn't cover people bumping into them, right?
No. And it doesn't cover just normal maintenance either. It's
Right.
more defects.
Which we have.
Yeah, but not nearly as much as
There are no outstanding issues.
people issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a charge to the airline for use of the
There
jet
is.
bridge?
And I'll let Hazel tell you not only what we charge, but we've heard some complaints from the airlines operating in Sacramento Airport and the comparison. Just to,
Oh, you want me to?
yeah, I just
Yeah.
so
You love that,
another
don't you?
gee whiz.
We do have a charge for the boarding bridge. Commissioner Khan, it's $65 per turn. And compared with Sacramento's new airport, their boarding bridge, which is not glass but metal, is $875 per turn. It's that much.
So they get actually a loading and an unloading for that price. They get two people.
I think if you park on the
times.
ramp, you get that price. But yeah, that's part of the one of the major issues of trying to get Inter-California service to Sacramento are the fees charged to airlines in Sacramento. So
That's more than the net on some flights. I mean,
That's correct.
You can't make $800 to give away at the end.
Their big build project that they just finished was expensive, and they
it's more than
have the
$1
job of
billion.
recouping those expenses to make their debt service as well.
Understood, but
Yeah.
if nobody shows up.
That's our problem in trying to
Yeah.
get their
Get service there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, wow.
Breathtaking.
And then does Geico insure those if people run into them and stuff like that? Or do you, if there is damage to one, like for instance, the Bay Bridge, when the boat runs into that, they assess damage and then they're responsible? Is that the way that works?
If a particular airline causes the damage, then we bill the airline.
Okay.
If it's normal maintenance, wear and tear,
Right.
that kind of thing, it goes into the charges
Okay.
that we charge.
Can't wait to see the little gecko out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little lizard or whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Well,
Do you need a motion to adjourn?
no, I think I'll just say that we're adjourned
And Happy New Year.
unilaterally.